What's going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes are back with another MMA superstar. It's Logan Storley, who's going to be headlining Bellator 274 on February 19th on Showtime, as always. Logan, how you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on.
12-1, ranked number 5 against number 4. I know you want to snatch that number 4 as you progress through the ranks, but how about that submission? It'd be nice to get that submission and to get it on a Gracie, right? I mean, that's got to be like a big bullseye, on your proverbial hit list, I guess.
Yeah, no, that'd be fun, to go out there and get a submission over decorated guy like that from a family of great BJJ guys.
How do you balance that inner game? I figure you fighters are in there and you're thinking of a lot of things, the game plan, what you fight for. Fighting on reaction, maybe when you get hit and you have to collect yourself. But how do you fight between winning and then also that ego of, I'd love to get that, I'd love to submit that Gracie? Do you talk to yourself? Do you think to yourself? What goes on?
I think once you get in there, especially as the fight progresses and each guy gets a little more tired, is you're just going in there and you're continuing to grind, right? Working, all right, how much time do I got left? I got to win these small positions. Then you're trying to fight for that finish, right? But you're also doing the best, in the best way you can, that you're going to get the W and you're putting on a show.
So it's almost like in football or basketball where you guys are huddling up and you're talking and you're going, hey, that guy can't cover me. Let's go long. We've tried this early in the game, but I picked up on the fact that he's not, he can't cover me when I go long. Like, is that what you're thinking? Is that what you and your corner communicate as the fight progresses? Because this, again, is an extra 10 minutes.
Yeah, you start to feel things, right? You start to feel his strength. You start to feel these positions, maybe his hands down. You're starting to tag him with the same combination, things like that. You start to figure out, especially, I would say after the second round, midway through the second, through the start of the third is when both guys kind of know each other.
Give me an example, and we're not trying to disrespect the former opponent or anything, but this is a valid question, I think. Give me an example of a previous fight where something like that went down, and that's why you got a certain finish. Do you have an example?
I don't know, but I think one of the fights I fought Matt Secor, tough BJJ black belt, but that was one of my first fights where I really landed my hands, my leg kicks. I felt he was slick on the ground, and I felt those positions, and I felt them just starting to wear on him. And I knew that I could stand up with them and start, rock them and land those things. And that was a really big fight for me, where to kind of get over that hump. That was my first, top guy who former Bellator, fought in Bellator before I was young in my career. And you just start to feel it. When you're kind of in that zone, that flow state, I guess you'd call it, and everything just came together.
Nice. All right. Well, I talked about number 5 versus number 4. I talked about bullseyes. This is unique because you fought the champ before. One judge thought you beat the champ. So in a way, your chase is different from like contenders that chase the incumbent, the undisputed champion. Yours is different. You've already fought him. Does that make the chase, I guess, easier knowing how you felt this guy? How you can beat this guy? What's that like, I guess, compared to if it was someone at the top that you have never faced? Is it a different type of bullseye or mentality?
When you're at a gym like Sanford MMA, you train with guys Gilbert Burns, Vicente Luque, Ian Gary, Robbie Lawler, Mike Chandler, Jason Jackson, top guys in the world. You feel them, right? You know them. And I know it's a little different than competing, but then when I went in there with Amasov, I knew I've trained with the best guys in the world. Guys who've went and fought for the title. Kamaru used to be a training partner, sparred a lot of rounds with him. So yeah, I mean, I know Neiman's good, and the chases. It doesn't really matter to me who's there. This isn't a revenge tour. I want to beat just one guy. It's like I want to be the best in the world. I don't care who has the belt. I just want that belt. I want to be the best in the world.
Logan, when you sit down and break down this fight in your head, because I just did this for the last hour, and I'm curious if it's ever happened to you. After a while, I went through so many scenarios, and both of you are so well-rounded that I started thinking, am I overthinking this? Can that happen to you as a fighter? When you look at his strengths, your strengths, and just the adjustments you guys have made throughout your career, does it ever get to the point where you think, man, am I overthinking this? Can we just go into round one and just, hey, let's just get it on. Let's just get this thing underway.
Yeah, I think that happens. That's why some guys, I would say a lot, maybe more than not, don't like to watch too much film, because once you start breaking everything down, it's like, oh, he's good here, he's good here. That knockout there, that submission there, it's like, how am I going to beat? You start over analyzing things, and so I like to watch a little bit of film early in camp, and then some little positions. But at the end of the day, it's when you're training with the guys, you know where you're at, you know where your strengths are, but it's just about pushing the pace. It's about being the last guy fighting. And that just, that's a little more of just pure will, right? And so that's what you kind of have to rely on deeper in these fights, and stop, worrying about everything that could go wrong. When you start thinking like that, it's like, well, it might.
I think this fight for you is going to be a bit of a vacation. I think the nightmare has been the training camp. The guys that you name that are at your gym, okay, just overall in the gym, there's a bunch of killers, but just your division alone, there's some menaces there. Can you maybe point to one guy who pushed you the most this training camp, and maybe one guy that's given you the best bit of advice?
I spent a lot of time with Shavkov, who just fought, and Gilbert and me just did a bunch of rounds, and so those two guys I spent a lot of time with. And then Robbie Lawler's always in my corner, always helping me through the training camp, especially now. This is a 5-round fight. Rob fought for the title, defended it. He knows, the pressures and this and that. And so he's always there to help me with these little things and just make sure I'm always on point.
We're all human here, whether, whatever your job is. At some point throughout your life, there's probably one or two people that you always kind of want to impress, like a family member or somebody close. When you hear their approval or their advice, it just resonates more. Do you have one person in your life that you just really want to put a smile on their face, and you really appreciate what they say about your career?
I think it comes down, my mom started me, my mom and dad, helped me with my wrestling career, but we grew up on a farm. So my dad was busy working a lot. And so my mom took me all over the country wrestling. And so, helped me. I won my 6 state titles. Then I went to University of Minnesota, was a 4-time All-American, never won an NCAA title. And now with fighting, the goal to be the best in the world, I think just to kind of, I'm happy. So, I know she's happy, but also coming out of the fight, not too beat up. Otherwise she'll be a little upset with me.
How do you win 6 state titles in high school?
In South Dakota, you can wrestle from 7th through 12th.
Okay. All right.
So you're eligible 7th and 8th grade.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to ask you was, you mentioned it. We know you're a 4-time All-American. However, you did not win a title. But, when we talked to Randy Couture in the past, not the name drop or anything, Sean Connery once told me that wasn't cool. But King Mo also said the same thing. Not winning a title on the NCAA level or even in the Olympics, because they both were international level wrestlers, drove them even further in their MMA career. Have you felt the same thing? Like, maybe because you came up a little bit short here, that's why I'm going to become a champion, because like there's still a little bit of that taste that you have for being getting your hand raised and having a belt around you.
Yeah, I think we don't see that many guys from college wrestling anymore. We're not seeing 10, 15 Division I All-Americans coming over to MMA. For me, maybe if you win 2 or 3 titles, maybe you're good with it. You're done with your competing with your, career, and you wrestle a little bit international, try to make an Olympic team, and then you kind of move on with life, which we see a lot of guys, there's nothing wrong with that at all. But for me, it was the fact that I didn't get gold. I didn't hit that ultimate, the pinnacle of the sport. at the NCAA level, and that's why I'm here, you know, and that's why I'm fighting. And I think that's why my success is, has been there, is because it's, you know, it just drives me crazy thinking that, you know, I was always a top 3 guy, ranked top 3, top 4, freshman through senior year, and I didn't find a way to get it done. And so, yeah, now I'm kind of, you know, for me, it's not that I need it, but I really want to do it to prove that I'm the best in the world.
I got you. All right. A couple personal questions since we just got a couple minutes left. You, on your Instagram profile, it said real estate is, I guess, a passion or something you do. Tell me about that. Is it related more towards like farms where you came from, or is it more like smaller homes in like Florida where you live now?
Well, I guess one of the reasons why when I first started fighting, I mean, we all know it. It's tough right away. You don't make a ton of money, and so when I first started making my money, I buy rental properties in the University of Minnesota, other college towns. University of Minnesota wrestlers have done it for a while. They help me out how to do it, how to manage it. So when I'm done fighting, you know, I have passive income. I have other things going for me. I know at any instant this sport can be taken away from you. And so that was the main reason for me to do it, is when I want to be done, I can be done and have something coming in for me.
Can you imagine if NIL had been around when you were wrestling?
Yeah, that would be nice.
Right?
Yeah.
I think your boy Gable Stevenson is cashing in on that now. So that's great. But you know, so obviously there'd be some MMA sponsors that come from the wrestling background that I think are hopefully going to be beneficial to some of the younger wrestlers.
Yeah, you know, I think it'll be good for them to kind of get taken care of, because the universities are making money off their name. The NCAA is making money off their name. So, you know, I think they deserve to be paid back a little bit and taken care of if they can go get their own stuff.
Where would you say Minnesota ranks amongst the athletes they've produced that have done well in MMA? Oklahoma State always gets a lot of love. Arizona State gets a lot of love. Ohio State, you know, you hear of them. Penn State. How about Minnesota? I know there's yourself, Brock Lesnar. Tell me about some of the other ones that went there. I think Nick
Lentz.
Lentz wrestled there, right?
Yep.
Where do you guys think you rank? You know, is there a little bit of a joking around in the community of MMA as far as the wrestlers go?
Yeah, I think you know, I think us three. Now Mitch McKee's down here. He's a former All-American wrestler, just graduated last year, the year before. He's training at Sanford with us. I think we're going to see more guys to come over to MMA from Minnesota. Hopefully, if I can help that. But having Brock obviously helps. You know, a guy who was one of the biggest superstars in the UFC. You know, top 3 of, you know, most sold pay-per-views and things like that. Before Connor was there, he was the highest selling pay-per-view ever. So that always helps to have him. But I think we're starting to see it again, because besides Brock, you know, and Nick, there was no one else. Whereas Okie State had more guys. And now with me and Mitch, guys are starting to see that, you know, you can go and do this. And MMA is a lot more accepted than it was probably early 2000s, obviously.
Cole Conrad, did he go there as well?
Yeah, Cole was a Bellator champ.
He was a Bellator champ.
Yeah. Short career, went 12-0, 13-0, and won the heavyweight title, and now he's done. And,
I think he's in securities or something like that, having to do
commodities,
with farming.
He's a trader. Yep. So I know Cole. I just saw him this fall, and he's doing well, married, got kids, and so guys went and did their own thing and kind of moved on.
What do you do when someone's short on rent? Do you threaten like a takedown or an F5, or how do you hint around like, I'm not the guy to come short on the first of the month?
My property manager is Marty Morgan, former NCAA champ, assistant coach, Brock's MMA. So, you know, it's kind of a family affair with guys. So I don't think anyone's going to have mess with Marty.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, man, next time we're getting 25 minutes. I had more questions, but I had fun talking to you. So did Goes. Good luck, man, with the rest of your camp. There's not much left. Now it's just the weight cut and obviously doing your thing, man, against Neiman Gracie. It's gonna be a great fight. We're looking forward to it.
All right, thanks, guys.